And I don't really know exactly why there was a skeleton or a trampoline, but hi, I'm Arianna Stiano. Not however Nick said it before. My Instagram is Stiano Arianna, and I also have a modeling Facebook, which is just Arianna Stiano. I have been modeling for 4 years. No, 3 years. I started modeling right after I graduated from high school. I was going to Ames and I was taking a photography class, and we were short on models one night, and so the instructor asked me if I could step in and model because I didn't have my camera that night anyways. And so I did, and I loved it, and he suggested that I register with the school so I could get paid for modeling when I was done taking the class. And I did, and I've been modeling for Ames ever since, and modeling for different photographers around the area ever since. So the weirdest shoot that I've done is this photographer wanted me to dress up as a doll, and the concept of the shoot was not weird at all. I was gonna dress up as a doll. We were gonna go down to this mall and we were gonna take like some really creepy pictures. So the concept was really cool, but the photographer did not go to the mall beforehand. So he had no idea on what he actually wanted to do, and we just wandered around this mall, and I was dressed as a doll. We just wandered around this mall for about 3 hours, and I think he took a total of 4 shots. That is also the creepiest photographer that I've worked with. After the doll shoot, so the doll shoot was in June. It was in the beginning of June. So it was just starting to get hot, and I was wearing a dress with like a sweater over it, and then some long socks and some high-heeled shoes. Because, you know, I was dressed as a doll, right? And we started walking around the outside of the mall, and I'm like getting hot, and he's not taking any more pictures. He's just talking to me. And I was like, okay. And I actually had to text my mom and tell her to call me and tell me that she needed me to come home right away so that I could leave. And just subconsciously, I had taken my shoes off and my socks off because I was very, very hot. And he messaged me later that night. He sent me some of the edits, but then he said, he was like, I thought it was really sexy when you took your shoes off and your socks off. And I was like, oh, okay. He thought it was okay for him to tell me that because he thought we were friends now. We had only done 2 shoots together, and so I still didn't really know him, but apparently it's okay for him to tell me that my feet are sexy. And then about a month later, he messaged me and asked if I wanted to do another shoot, and I was like, I was kind of iffy on it, but he said that he would pay me, and I was like, okay. So we started talking about the shoots that we were gonna do, and he said, and since we've talked about this before, I feel comfortable asking you if I'll give you an extra $80 if you let me take pictures of your feet and you let me touch them. And so I stopped talking to him and I blocked him on everything. And that's definitely the creepiest photographer that I've worked with. Another really weird, interesting shoot that I've done is one time in the photography class, this woman brought in her daughter's wedding dress, and it was my size, so they put me in it. We took some great shots. They brought out a skeleton from the anatomy class, and then they brought in a trampoline. And I don't really know exactly why there was a skeleton or a trampoline, but it was weird and it was fun. So my rules when somebody reaches out to me, mostly through Instagram, nobody really reaches out to me through my Facebook page. But when a photographer reaches out to me through my Instagram, some pretty basic rules that I have. First I check their page just to see if they're a photographer that I would like to work with, if I like their work. If they even have work. I have had people message me like, oh, hey, we should do a shoot together, and then I go to their page and there aren't any posts at all. And so I'm like, yeah, block. So first I see if I like their work. If I do, then I'll message them back like, okay, what are you thinking? And if what they're thinking is something that's in my comfort level, I don't usually do like boudoir. I like keeping my clothes on pretty much. Also, if I have to travel more than like 45 minutes, then that's also a no, just because I like staying close to home. I like staying close to people who, I don't know, love me. I don't know how to explain it. I like, just in case there's danger, I like staying close to where people know where I am. And if they're willing to come to Greeley, Loveland, Fort Collins, that's good. I did go to Denver once. It was more like Brighton, and that's about as far as I'm willing to go unless I know you. So I get an idea for what they want to do, what sort of outfits they want, if I have what they want, sort of thing. And then at the very end, once we've made the plan, the outline of this is how we're gonna shoot, this is where we're gonna shoot, all sorts of things, I ask if I can bring my mom. Most of the time, I don't think I've had anybody yet who said, no, don't bring your mom. And then I usually take my mom with me to all of my shoots for the first time. I think Nick is the only photographer that I've worked with on a regular basis that hasn't met my mom, but I met him at the Ames photography class. So some of my favorite shoots that were not with Nick, because apparently I can't talk about those yet. One of them I did with the guy named Joseph, I think was his name. He only shoots film photography, so that was really interesting to like go in and not be able to see any of the pictures right away. We went to Glenmere Park and we just walked around taking some really, really awesome pictures. My mom and both of my nephews actually were there with me. He was really cool having my mom there, and I was like, oh, I'm sorry I didn't tell you, but my nephews had to come along too, and he was like, oh, that's fine. And then my nephew actually, he wanted to take a picture of me, so he grabbed my phone and he asked Joseph if he could take a picture of me on my phone, and Joseph was like, yeah, bud, of course. And so my nephew took a couple pictures of me, and then Joseph helped him take a couple pictures with the film camera, and that was really cool. 2 weeks later, when we finally got the pictures back, he did just a tiny bit of editing, as much as you can with film photography, because that's actually pretty limited. But they turned out really, really great. And another shoot that I did that I really enjoyed was actually the shoot that I went to Denver for. I went to shoot with DTM Photography, and I can't for the life of me remember the photographer's name. I'm sorry. But I loved that shoot. We went to this really gorgeous park in Brighton. It started off like the weather was perfect, everything was great, and then it got really, really stormy. And he was like, we can stop if you want. And I was like, oh no, it's fine. And so we kept taking pictures, and we got some really, really amazing photos of like the storm. And this park was very colorful. So in the background, there's like, you can see the stormy sky, but then it's just like pops of color of my dress, of the background, of what we were shooting up against. And it was a great shoot. My favorite shoots with Nick are, oh my gosh, there are so many. We've been working together for such a long time. So when I first met Nick, he wanted to take these weird pictures of me. They're not really weird, they're actually really cool. But like at the time I was like, you want to take a picture? Okay, that's fine. He brings out this really old camera and he says, okay, I'm gonna take some tintype pictures of you. And I was like, I don't know what that is, but you do you, friend. And he sits me down in this chair and he says, no matter how badly you want to, don't move for the next minute. And I was like, oh, I can do it. I cannot move for a minute. Obviously watching me, I cannot not move for a minute. So I was like, okay, no problem. And so I sit down and then he turns his light on and I swear it was like staring into the sun. I couldn't blink, I couldn't move for an entire minute, and so I'm just sitting there, and I think what we decided was that I would like look off to the side of the camera, right? So that I wouldn't be looking directly into the light and I wouldn't go completely blind. We joke that Nick is the reason I need glasses now. It was so, I don't know how to explain it. It was a very painful experience, that's for sure. But then once like we actually got the photos back, he brought them into class and he was like, look what I did. And I was like, oh my God, those are the coolest things I've ever seen. And now that I'm a little bit more experienced, I actually love shooting tintype with him. Some of my favorite shots with Nick, we went downtown Greeley once. I don't know why that one's one of my favorites. I guess just all of the shots turned out super great. It was kind of early in the morning, so it was really just me and him downtown. We didn't really have to get away from anybody. We just had the area pretty much to ourselves, which was awesome. My outfit was super great in that shoot, and I'm pretty proud of it. I sent those pictures to my fiance while he was at boot camp. And I was wearing like red booty shorts, and I guess all of his buddies saw them. And then when I finally got to like see him after boot camp, all of his buddies were like, where are your red shorts? And I was like, how do you know about my red shorts? So that was great. Nick he's really given me so much. He works with me a lot. He helps me become a better model. And there were a lot of times where when my fiance was at boot camp, like he'd be like, okay, I edited these so you can send them to James. And that was great. Some more really great photo shoots with Nick. When he was taking the photography class at Ames, the last night of shooting, I just brought in all of my outfits. I do beauty pageants, so I have a lot of clothes, a lot of fancy clothes, a lot of stylish clothes. And so I just brought in everything. I had cocktail dresses, evening gowns, just the works. I think I changed my outfit 5 times, 6 times. Yeah, something crazy. That was so much fun. We ran around the entire school just taking crazy pictures. We snuck into one of the pottery rooms and I climbed on a table so that we could take this photo next to a bunch of rusty old pipes. It was a very unstable table also. That shoot was super awesome. Another one of my favorite shoots would be the first pinup that we did when I was wearing that purple dress. I think that one just might be one of my favorites though, because you got the pictures of when I got that letter from James. He sent a letter to his mom while he was at boot camp, and on the front of it was a letter for her and on the back was a letter for me. And so his mom took a picture of it and sent it to me. I was like, oh guys, James's mom sent me a message, and I looked at it and I was like, oh my god. And it was the first letter that I had gotten from him while he was at boot camp, and I started crying and I wasn't really paying attention to what was going on. I totally ruined my makeup. Nick just he was on top of it. He took a whole bunch of pictures of me getting the letter and reading the letter, and that those pictures are really special to me because there's just so much emotion and it was such a great day. My name is Arianna Stiano. Like, subscribe, comment. Have a good day.